Oh, glory to God. Welcome to a Healing Talk Show program. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
If you rest, you rust. Keep moving forward. Say something, somebody.
My name is Onyinye. If you rest, you rust. Keep moving forward. What I understand by it is that you need to keep moving. Time waits for no one, so time doesn't outrun you.
My name is Ogenesume. If you rest, you rust. Keep moving forward. What I understand by this is that you have to be dynamic and develop yourself continuously. You have to keep learning and take action on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the contributions you made. For me, in this context, rest here means for those who are dead, who are in the mortuary. The way I understand it, as long as you have life living, like me, as I'm talking now, you need to keep working. You can wonder those with time to be the richest men on earth, they still work. Because they know that if they rest, they start declining, they'll start rusting. So you that just coming up, does it have to do with your academics? If you don't read your books, well, you will not pass, because this program is majorly for the youths. So you keep working, keep making search and do more research in your studies. Is there any particular corner giving you problem? Keep working. Don't give up. So you're staying here now, faith to move on. Don't give up in whatever you lay your hands to do. Keep moving forward. When you stop, your mates, of course, will put you behind. That is number one. So it is important that you know what you're doing and keep on doing it. Don't rest. The rest we're talking is not just for you to sleep maybe for an hour or two. No, some people are lazy. So do away with laziness and keep working hard. And God will give you all the support that you need. Then we'll stop here, continue with our discussion for today. It is desirable that individual or corporate bodies set realizable targets at the beginning of every new year. Apparently, achievable goals for year 2025 is the topic for consideration. We'll run for a short break, and when we come back, the guest will be introduced. Please stay tuned. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the topic again is achievable goals for year 2025. And with me in the studio is a business tycoon. Let's make welcome Mr. Godwin Esewe Higiamoso, PhD.
Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Thank you.
Before discussion proper, please follow us on our social media handles are displayed on the screen. You're welcome again, Godwin.
Thank you.
Please, your brief introduction, definition, and perspective of this matter.
Goals are very important for personal development and for also corporate development. And you put time to it, and that is the reason why you're putting 2025 to it. So what goal is all about is simply what you have decided, to achieve. More or less an outcome that you have set for yourself. And it is proper that you give a time to it, and a year, 12 months is usually good, but it could be considered as short term. But you are able to say that at the end of the year, I should be able to achieve this goal. The goals are varied. There are several goals. They are in various dimensions. You have your, health goal. You have your career goal. You have even relationship goals. What you want to achieve. So when you look at all this, for an individual, just as also happens in corporate environment, you need therefore to prioritize. This year, my priority will be that I want to attain some certification. It could be certification in any aspect of the AI or whatever. This year could be I want to make some investments. Okay? This year could be that I want to build a relevant relationship, strong relationship. This year could be I want to do something about my my physical well-being, in terms of exercise or whatever you want to do. So you have this series of, priority, deciding on what you want to do. And thereafter, you need to also ensure that you break these goals. Let me put it in terms of milestones, that by the first quarter of the year, which will end on the 31st of March, I should be here. And in June, I should be here. September, I should be there. Why that is important is to ensure that you are able to measure your progress. So what is not desirable at all is not to have a goal at any point in time. Because the reason is this: if you do not have a goal, or you do not know your destination, you will end anywhere.
All right. How do one plan to achieve his or her goal?
Planning is actually designing a pathway to your, your goals. And therefore, how do you do that? I think, again, it begins with the goal itself. First of all, you identify, the goal you want to. And of course...
And it should be written down most times. It should be written down.
Yeah, it could be, where it is advisable that you write it down. Why it is so is that you can always make reference to what you have, put down. So planning for your goal is that, like I said, is, designing a pathway. What are those things that are important? First is that you are specific about what the goal is. You decide on it. This is where the goal, what this goal is going to be. And of course, you have to also decide, what do you need to achieve those goals? If you want to do certification, obviously you will need some money to do that. Of course, time is also a resource. What time, amount of time that you want to devote into that. The third thing that you will need to also do is to quickly recognize that there could be obstacles to you achieving your goals. And so you come up in a very proactive manner to see what could be your responses, to whatever obstacle that will be between you and your goal. So once you put this together, of course, you put a timeline. We've been talking about 2025. So those are the things you need to take into consideration. But what is important is also for you to understand the nature of goals. There are some features of goals. The first thing is the fact that you know clearly what you want to achieve. Okay? The second thing is to ensure that those goals, they lend themselves to measurement. That is, you are able at every point in time, or when you get to the end, to be able to say, yes, this is what I have done, this is what I couldn't do. You could actually put some ratios to a percentage to it. Okay, I've been able to achieve 70% and all that. And those goals should equally not be unrealistic. That is, not if they are unrealistic, there are some implications. So they must be achievable. And it's goal that actually will be sufficiently motivate you. That is to say, the goal must have value or relevance. Okay, the goal must have value or relevance. And then why do you want to pursue a goal that is not, that is valueless, so to speak? So, and of course, the timeline we've talked about. Those are some of the things that you need to clearly understand and know when you are putting your plans together, or when you are putting your plans towards a goal together.
Thank you so much. Take a break now. Continue when we come back. VB View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. We are still discussing achievable goals for year 2025. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your answers so far. Why do some youths lack the morale to pursue their goals. With all this you have mentioned, some of them will actually be able to say, I want to do this year, but along the line, they are not able to do it. They are not encouraged to do that. Why?
Well, let's look at it from two perspectives. The first is, why do people don't think about having their goals?
Yes.
And they are not motivated.
Exactly.
And then what could be some of the obstacles to identifying or setting a goal? The first thing could be that you are not motivated because the goal is not motivating enough. If you set a goal you are not able to achieve, it's simply because the goals are not motivating enough. The other thing is also that awareness. And awareness could actually be that you do not think, you are not in an environment that tends to prompt people to support goal setting. That could be some of the reasons why not. But what are the obstacles when you now set goals? What are the things that will not make you to get there? You can actually categorize them into 3 categories. And the first category is, interestingly, begins with you. You are the person. You could actually constitute an obstacle
To yourself.
to yourself. You could, because you lose focus, for whatever reason, you lack diligence. You have not been able to be very diligent, because achieving goal is, setting a goal is one thing. Achieving it requires few things, and one of them is yourself. You are the central person, in achieving your goals. So it could begin with you that you are not diligent enough. The second category could actually be in the goal itself. Like I said earlier, if your goal is not giving you that motivation, you may not be very committed, to achieving it. So the goal, therefore, the outcome, what you're going to get at the end of the day, must be so attractive that it does not only motivate you to do it, but it keeps you, committed. The last thing, obstacle, it could be in the environment, in the operating environment. Few things happening. I've talked about that. First is that if you're in an environment that is your social environment, your friends, your network of people that are not sufficiently motivated, what they say does not fire you up. The other issue of environment are things that will happen that will come between you and the goals. It could be, for instance, your goal was to get to UK to do your master's or whatever. And eventually, you just discover that the devaluation of the Naira has come. And that has thrown up the cost, as at least in Naira, for your program. That could stop the achieving the goal, or at least it could put it off. It could modify it. So that is an issue. Of course, many goals were truncated, whether by individual or corporate, by the COVID-19 and a few other things. So the other issue could also be resources.
Funding.
If at the end of the day, you have set your goal, you are determined, everything is set, and you do not have the resources, or you had the resources, something happened, and you can't deploy those resources to achieve that goal, that could affect the achievement of your goal. Either you do not at all achieve, or it could take some time, more than what you have previously allotted to achieving that goal. So these are some of the obstacles that can come between you and your goals.
And just to add to what you said, death of a loved one can also be a hindrance as well.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a senior brother that was trying to give you that support. Suddenly, something happened, or even your parents. So those are also, or even health as well, can also cause, make you not to do exactly what you intended to do. Then explain briefly what short-term and long-term goals are, and how can, the youths create them.
Okay, let's look at it. I think they are quite obvious. Looking at those terms, short terms,
long term.
essentially means that look, it is going to be for a short period. The period could be, it could be as short as 2 days. Of course, you can still talk about a year relatively as short. And when you talked about long term, it's the other way. It could be as long as 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, or whatever. So that is actually what it is. I think what is essential here is to be able to look at things that determines whether a goal
Be short or
will
long.
be short or long. I think it will begin with the nature of the goal. But let's take a case you want to be. My expectation or my goal as a young person is to have to qualify as a medical practitioner, a doctor. And so that could take you about 6 years, 7 years, and all that. That could be seen as in the long term. So you see, it is the nature of the goal itself. So you can't say because you want to be a doctor and you say it's going to be
in 2 years
in 2025. No. So that is important. The nature of the goal is important. Related to it is the fact that the time to be able to actualize, to get to that goal, also determines. So if it is something that I want to plant cassava farm this year, and I want to do that, obviously the time for you to do that will be, as few numbers or a number of months. But if on the other hand, again, like I said, it's going to also take some time. So what determines whether a goal should be short-term or long-term is likely the nature of the goal itself, and of course, the time to achieve the goal.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's time for a break. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, we are still discussing achievable goals for year 2025. And that takes me to the last question. What are the limitations and obstacles to one's vision and goals? You mentioned some. Can you throw more light to that?
Yeah, I think those obstacles have been, I've mentioned, the key ones. But I think what is also important before coming to the end of such a discussion like this is to actually, address our mind to steps, that can be taken when you are putting a goal together. It is in that process that you identify what could enable the process of getting the goal, or that can work against that. In that case, the obstacles that we have noted. I think the steps are quite simple. The first is, like I said much earlier, is to decide on what the goal you want to achieve. I want to tell you why this is important, because this eventually will determine so many things. If you are able to get the decision of a particular goal right, that would make sure that you will be able to achieve. Because if you don't get it right, and it could actually lead to so many things. For instance, if you decide on a goal, just because your friends are, set, that's their goal for this year, and you set them, and for you, it could be unrealistic. Most of these issues, features I talked about, resources, and few other things are not. So you clearly have to identify what you want to achieve, describing that goal with the feature I have mentioned, being specific, being able to be measured, is realistic, that is achievable. Of course, it has value that is relevant to whatever, and you have to do it within a time. The second thing is to, as develop what I call a pathway to achieving the goal. In December, obviously, is going to be your result time. That is your examination time. December, at the end of the year, what have I done? So you need to develop a plan or a pathway to be able to achieve that goal. And that plan should consist of this. It consists the resources that you will need. It consists, more importantly, what I may refer to as milestones. Some of the achievements towards that goal you want to achieve as you move ahead. For instance, half the period, June in this case, I should be here. The implication of that is that if you, in June, you are not there, you begin to question whether you'll be able to achieve the goal. So you need to clearly put in your milestone, break those goals, break them into milestone, and then you are able to do that. The third thing, after having your milestone, you should be able to track your progress. You can call it monitoring. You know,
evaluation.
I want to do this thing. Where am I? You know, you are tracking. The essence of that, again, is like the milestone issue, is to be able to determine where you are and also to decide whether or not the goal will be ultimately achieved. And to be able to also, if the answer is that there will be challenges, also to see what type of things you should do to still be able to achieve the goal. That becomes very important. Of course, the goal must also be flexible.
Flexibility.
Yeah, you know, it's not, flexibility is important because it's going to help you to be able to respond to some happenings that were not envisaged when you were planning your path. You know, there were certain things probably you didn't think of. You need to be flexible. If, for instance, by June, you say you are going to achieve this, and in March, maybe illness or whatever you never expected happened, you need to therefore, you know, be flexible in terms of the timing. Maybe it's no longer going to be December, you add 1 or 2 months. Or in terms of even the goal itself. I think the last one that is important is that you need to celebrate. You know, as your goal, you are tracking, you have your milestone, you are making progress, you celebrate yourself. and so you see that you move confidently towards achieving your goals.
Wow. That's a very good one. So don't forget to celebrate yourself. Don't walk without celebrating yourself. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, to be a question and answer session. Vivid View.
Say and
do it. Okay.